Good morning, everybody, and it's me again. I am working on our First Amendment today. I want you guys to have a clear understanding of some of these amendments, and we're having class discussions. And I'm afraid that I'm not giving everybody the same information, so I've decided to go ahead and start recording these. The First Amendment talks about the freedom of religion, speech, and press, rights of assembly, and to petition. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Miss Anderson, I have to be honest, that makes no sense to me. What do you mean? Well, I mean freedom of religion. It sounds really basic, but it's something that I think that we take for granted and we don't realize the value of it. You don't have to go to church. As an American citizen, you have the right to go to church or not go to church. As an American citizen, you can go to the Baptist Church, the Holiness Church, the Pentecostal Church, the Assemblies of God Church, the Lutheran Church, the Episcopalian Church, the local Protestant church, the Worshipers of the Sun, Jehovah's Witness, and whatever else religion that's out there that I didn't mention or don't know about. You're free to worship the way you want to worship. If you want to attend one denomination on Saturday night, two on Sunday morning, one on Sunday night, you have that freedom. If you have no value or interest in church, you have that freedom also. And we think, oh, that's no big deal. But when they sat down and they wrote the Bill of Rights and they were writing out the Constitution, they had just fought an American Revolution and gained that freedom from Great Britain, where the king had gotten mad at the Pope because he wanted to marry and divorce lots of women, and the Pope said, you can't do that. Catholic law says you can't do that. And so the king said, well, I'll just make the Church of England, and I'll be in charge, and I can do what I want to do. And the Pope was like, what? Okay, whatever. So then when we got to America, we realized, who are you to tell me how to worship God? Who are you to tell me what kind of relationship to have with God? Because, see, they weren't just telling them in England how to worship God. They were telling them if you don't worship God, you get a fine, you get a penalty, you get some kind of negative consequences that negatively impacts your family, and that's really not what church should be about. So they added freedom. They wrote the Constitution. They created the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment said freedom of religion, speech, and press. This is where it can get kind of dicey. Yes, you can express your opinion, but you can't express your opinion in anger with false statements. If you say something or you write something about somebody, it probably needs to be something, it does need to be something that you can back up. You can verify that information. If I read your article or I read your opinion, I could go back and say, for instance, Ms. Anderson is a bad science teacher. Okay, well, on what grounds are you basing that I'm a bad science teacher? Well, she doesn't like doing experiments. She thinks that, like, playing in the dirt and digging for worms is gross. She doesn't like dissecting animals. She freaks out at snakes. Not a big spider chick. And bodily functions, they should be done in the bathroom, and bodily fluids should be kept in your body unless you're going to the bathroom. I agree. I would make a horrible science teacher. That's why I don't teach science. That's why I am an amazing social studies teacher, because I love the social aspect of learning about people and why they do what they do. So you could write this statement, Miss Anderson is not a good science teacher, and you could give reasons that I listed, and they're true, and that's a true statement, and that's okay. It would make me sad that you thought I was a bad teacher, but science teacher, I'd probably agree with you. So now the flip side of it, just because you know somebody's family business, and sometimes family business can be ugly. Bubba Gump, Joe Brown, Scott has a hard home life. He has a parent that's abusive. And most days at his house are rough. Like, you can hear his daddy yelling at him and things being thrown around his house at your house. You've talked to your mom and dad, and your mom and dad have contacted the police, the school, the appropriate people to help Bubba and his family. If that were you, would you want everybody broadcasting it? Would you want people telling it at school? Would you want people writing about it? Probably not. But once you've told people to get somebody the backup, the support, the help that they need, it's not yours to discuss anymore. At best, just pat Bubba on the back and give him a cup of grace when he's being kind of dicey, because he's had probably a rough night, a bad morning, and he doesn't need any more flack. But he also doesn't need the pressure or the stress of people discussing all his business like it's Fortnite details. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so we've covered religion, we've covered speech, we've covered the press, because those two kind of go together. The next thing that we want to talk about is assembling, getting together. Things had gotten so rough before the American Revolution broke out that the British government just knew if they kept the colonists in small groups, then there wouldn't be any kind of issues with the American Revolution and the colonists getting organized, and that idea did not work for them. But when they wrote down the Bill of Rights, they wanted people to get together in large groups and to express opinions and thoughts and say, hey, this isn't right. We need to look at this. We need to change this. It's just kind of like the teacher protest back in 2016. The teachers were out of the classroom for 10 days. Was it 18, maybe 2018? The teachers were out of the classroom, but we weren't out of the classroom for our own paychecks. We were out of the classroom because we needed money to run our classrooms. We needed money to run our schools. We needed money to make a better education system for you. Okay? And the last part of the First Amendment that I want to discuss is petition. And this is what throws a lot of people off. But it's probably one of the best things. It's where me, as an American citizen, can look around and see things that need to be done better in my world and help my lawmakers know what we need to change and what we need to do better. And the petitioning for redress, the petitioning, when you redress something, you change the dress or you change the style of it. When you petition, you make note, we need to change this. We need to make this better. We need to do this better. So once you do that, then you realize, oh, wait, we can do this better. We can make this work. We can make this a stronger thing. Some of the things that petition may be adding a stop sign somewhere, adding a stoplight, changing a law, changing a rule. There's lots of reasons to petition, and they don't have to necessarily be bad. You can make change, and it can be a good situation, and you want to make it better. And that's kind of what we should be doing, is taking good situations and making it better. Taking a bad situation and making it better. Let's look around and see what we can do to improve. But that's all I have for now. That is my First Amendment talk. This will be available to you. And I hope you like my series of Bill of Rights.